everybody, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, hi, my name is Ansley, and exactly 1 year ago, I decided to move to Norway to pursue my master's degree and fulfill a lifelong dream of living in Europe. So that's exactly what I did, and I've been living here in Norway ever since. For those of you watching this video trying to learn how to do the same, I'm going to tell you all about my personal experience on how I managed to move to Norway under a student visa, as well as everything else I know about the rest of the immigration process. My personal story on how I immigrated to Norway began when I received an acceptance letter from the University of Oslo to study in Norway full-time. This was my golden ticket in order to get a study visa and then become a resident of Norway. My first step in applying for residency was to first get a study visa through Norway's immigration website, udi.no. This system is really easy to navigate and is even in English. All you have to do is tell the system what country you're from and what kind of visa you're applying for, and it'll give you a comprehensive list of all the documents you need and the process required to get that type of visa.
So I ended up realizing that locating the list of required documents to apply for your specific visa type through UDI was a bit more complicated than I remembered. That's why I recorded this step-by-step process on how to locate the document list for your study visa on the website. Hopefully this helps some of you with navigating the immigration site. Once you've made it this far, it's basically what I said. You just have to enter in what country you're applying from, and you make it to the list of required documents for your visa type.
The different type of visas are either study, work, or family related, and all have different types of requirements to receive them. For me though, I only needed to get a study visa. So I told the UDI system this, and it gave me a big list of documents that I needed to collect and then present to my nearest Norwegian embassy in the United States to formally apply for the visa. The list of required documents I needed to show the embassy was my passport, some Norwegian bank statements providing proof of funds to cover the duration of my studies, my acceptance letter showing I was a full-time student at a Norwegian university, and a study plan letter telling them how long I was going to be a student in Norway. The main thing I had to deal with in collecting these documents though was somehow getting my funds to a Norwegian bank account. The way I did this was by going through the student association SIO, which is located in Oslo. This organization provides students with housing and also temporary bank accounts so that they're able to wire their money to Norway in order to show proof of funds and get the visa in the first place. So I went to SIO's website, applied for that temporary student account, wired the funds, and then got confirmation so I had the documents needed for my appointment at the embassy. Once I had collected all of my documents and paid the consular fee, I booked my appointment at the nearest Norwegian embassy in the United States through a website called VFS Global. This is the one that the Norwegian embassies in the United States use, but there might be a different type of website depending on what country you go through. You can also just go to the Norwegian embassy websites first, and they usually have a way to apply for appointments there, but if you're in the United States, it'll just redirect you to this website anyway. Unfortunately for me though, when I went to book my Norwegian embassy appointment, I realized the closest embassy wasn't close at all. The closest one was actually in Houston, Texas. So I had to book an appointment, pack my bags, get on a plane, and go all the way to Houston just for a 30-minute appointment to hand in some documents. But a few weeks later, when I was back home, I received my study visa in the mail along with all the paperwork that I had provided to the embassy. Most importantly, my passport. Kinda needed that to travel to Norway. Once I had secured my study visa, all I had to do was find a place to live in Norway and book a police appointment in order to turn my study visa into a residence permit and a national ID number. The police appointments are also handled through the UDI immigration website. You can book your appointment there, and I really advise you to do this as early as possible. The police appointments have been backed up because of the pandemic, and they usually fill up very quickly. Sometimes there's not an opening for months. And you really want to get an appointment right after you arrive in Norway, otherwise you won't have a residence permit or national ID number, and that can kind of put you in a state of limbo while you're here in Norway. So I booked my police appointment right away, and I was all ready to move to Norway. Next thing I knew, I had booked a one-way ticket to Oslo and spent the next few weeks settling into my new city. after a while, it was time for my police appointment in person. I immediately went downtown to the local police office, bringing my passport, lease agreement, Norwegian bank statements, study plan, study visa, and my student acceptance letters. After I gave all of those documents to the immigration agent, they took my fingerprints and my photograph, entered my information into the national database, and told me I'd be receiving my residence permit, national ID number, and a doctor would be assigned to me in the letter in a few weeks in the mail. After I went home, I waited a few weeks, around 2 or 3, and that's exactly what happened. I received my residence permit in the mail along with the national ID number and was assigned a doctor in the process. But just so you guys are aware, even after the police appointment, you still have to do a little bit of work. In order to turn the national ID number into a valid tax ID number, you need to contact the Norwegian Tax Administration office right after receiving that number from the police. You can do this, or you can open a bank in Norway and get something called the bank ID, which is a randomly generated number when you open an account. You kind of need both a national ID number and a bank ID in order to access basic services in Norway, like the tax website or even the healthcare website. But after that, once you have your residence card, visa, national ID number, and bank ID number, you are officially a resident of Norway. Now, while my personal experience mostly focused on the student immigration side of things, you can also immigrate on a work visa or a family reunification visa. There are a few different requirements for this, but I would assume that the process is mostly the same, the only difference being what kind of documents you present to the police and the embassy appointments. But with that, that pretty much sums up everything I know about my experience moving to Norway. I know when I was trying to figure out this legal, bureaucratic immigration process on my own, I would have really benefited from seeing a video like this one, just explaining everything in a very clear and concise way. If you guys feel the same way or just found this video really informative and fun, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below for more videos like this one. And with that, I'll see you all next week for the new video. Bye guys!